Thank you everyone for joining us today. Today's live event, we are going to cover some of Jonard Tools cable testers. So we have the TETP 800, TETP 901, and the TBS-100. So before I go further, first, let me introduce myself. I'm Ed Sorbona, Senior Director of Engineering here at Jonard. And with me today, I have Carmen Chung, our Marketing Manager, and Mike Baptiste, who is my right hand at doing this and will keep me in line. You might hear me interact with him here and there along the way. Further, a little bit of housekeeping. Please take a moment to like our Facebook page and go to jonard.com/live to enter our contest to win a TETP-900. So, with that being done, let me get started. So I'm going to start off with our TETP-800. It is a basic tone and probe setup. So we have the tone generator here, and we have the probe here. Very simple and easy to use. We're simply going to turn it on. I have a cable here. Let me just spread it out a bit. Okay, I'm going to use the red lead. Just connect it up here. I'll connect the black lead up as well, but you really don't have to. I just have it connected onto one pair of cables in here. Your probe here has volume control on it. And just simply turn it on, turn up the volume. Can you hear? There we go. Okay, and you can go right down. And that's pretty much it. So you're basically toning out the cable. The tool also has a switch here where you can test the cable or a pair for continuity. So I'm going to come over to the end here. And I'm just going to tie it together. Want to zoom in, Mike, for a second here? You can see I have it switched on to continuity. There's no light on right now. I'm going to tie the pair together. And I'll lift it back up in a second. So I'm just going to tie the pair together here. And now you can see the green light is lit. It's showing you that you have continuity on this cable, okay? So we'll power that off. Let me disconnect it here. Move my cable to the side for now. Okay, last thing, if you want to test out your telephone line in your house, you can go to a wall plate, plug this right in, turn it on. You can trace it using the probe. You can also, again, test for continuity. So that's the TETP-800. Okay. Moving on, I'm going to now talk about the TETP-901. This is a tone and probe, just like the TETP-800, but it also has some cable testing features in it that I'll go over. So here's your probe, your tone generator here. It has alligator clip ends on it. Actually, better nail alligator clips. Has a B&C port on it and RJ45 port on the tone generator here. So turning it on, I'm going to go through just some of the basic features here. So I switched this to RJ45 mode first here, and what we could do is actually test out a network cable. Mike, did you get that?
Yeah, you can just bring it for a second.
Okay, here, let me hold it up before it turns off on me. Does have a timer. It will time out and switch itself off. Okay. So here I have a network cable, RJ45 ends on each side. Powered up. Connected here. The remote for this is built into it. You just press, slide it out. I'm going to connect it onto the other end. Connected, and then you hit the test button here. And in a second, it's showing you all the pairs. If those lights are lit, all the pairs are good. And green light is telling you it's passed. Okay, moving on to the next one here. The power on button is also the mode button, so you can switch from RJ45 to the BNC port to test the BNC. You can turn the toner on and so forth. So I'm going to disconnect this. I'll do a little test here in a second. Let me leave that out for now. So what I'm going to do here is just do a little test using the BNC port. I happen to have a BNC jumper. It comes with it in the accessory kit. And I'm going to put, I am missing, oh, here it is. There we go. All right, so again, powered up. It just tested, as soon as I powered it up, it tested the cable. It shows pair 1 and 2 good. For that, this means the BNC is good. And again, the green light is lit. So what I did here was put a 50 ohm terminator on the end of this jumper cable, and it comes with the accessory pack. So that's done. You can also switch over if you have coax you want to test that has typical F connectors on it. It comes with an F connector jumper and 2 BNC to F connector connectors. So that would help you convert over from the BNC. So last, I'll just do a test again using this same cable. We'll put a tone onto this cable. Same thing, click this up here. There we go. Let me disconnect that. Turn it on, switch to tone mode. And there you go, I can sweep. There's the tone. Okay, it also has a talk battery feature which would allow the tool to power up a phone so you can test that the phone is actually functional. Okay. By the way, let me go back to that toner section here. We actually have 2 sounds. We can switch to a different sound, switch back. So I just wanted to point that out. And I'll turn that off. Again, this is the TETP 901. Okay, and last I want to show you is our TBS-100 butt set. It's a basic butt set, and that allows you to connect up to the phone, do an on hook, off hook, basic dial. You can dial out, you can pause, you can do redial, you can switch from pulse to tone. So we have a couple little videos that will show you of the TBS-100 in action. You want to fire up the first video, Mike? And basically what we're doing here is connecting the TBS-100 up to a router modem combo and just checking for dial tone. We're using the switch box here. So with this switch box, you don't need a banjo or breakout tool. And you can see the LED on the front there when illuminated. It's showing you that you're off hook, and you're doing that just simply by pressing the on hook, off hook button. Okay, next video here, you go ahead. We're just using the alligator clips going on to a 66 block, which is going out to different spots within the household here. And again, just showing you on hook, you can see we have dial tone there. So if we're testing it out, this would be a procedure you want to follow. You have a tone coming in, okay? You have tone going up to your wires. And then the last one here, we're actually testing at a wall plate. Go ahead. So here we're using the breakout. We're using a switch box and a little jumper that's included with the TBS-100. And you can see us connecting right up. Again, switching, showing that LED is lit. We have tone. And here I'm just showing you here's the on hook, off hook switch. So that is the TBS-100. So we pretty much just covered 3 of Jonard's cable testing pieces of equipment. Any questions? Floor is open. Carmen. Okay, I have a question here. What is the best way to trace a wire? The way I interpret that question is, how do I connect up the tone generator and what's the best way to do it? So basically you're going to connect the red wire onto one of the conductors inside your cable, and you're just going to sweep with the tone generator, with the probe. By the way, our probes are interchangeable. They will work with each other, okay? One thing you do want to do is make sure in a cable bundle, you want to do as best as you can to isolate that cable, because you will get crosstalk. It can occur, and you want to back away. You want to get that cable as isolated as possible. If you're getting some crosstalk in a cable bundle, you want to look for the cable with the strongest signal, and then pull that one out further, and then check it again to make sure you weren't, it wasn't a false positive, if you will. Okay. Can you trace RJ45 terminated cable? Yes, you can. Certainly with the TTP901, you're just going to connect it to the, actually, I'm not even sure you need the remote. You're going to connect it up. You don't need the remote. You're going to power it on, switch to tone, and just start tracing along. It's no problem at all. Oh, we have another question here. Can you use your tone and probe on live circuits? Really, the answer to that is no. You don't want to hook it up to a live circuit. And actually, ideally, you want to, when you're doing tracing, not be near any live circuit, because the probe will pick up the electromagnetic interference from the live circuit, and it'll come across as a loud hum depending on how strong it is, and it can actually overpower the tone you might be putting in your cable, and you might not be able to hear it. So really, the way to avoid that is you would need either a digital or filtered probe to be able to deal with that. Interesting question, Carmen's showing me. Can I use this on armored cable? The thing with armored cable is that it's a shield, and you're trying to put a tone down the center of the cable, so the armor is actually shielding the tone from getting out, so you won't be able to sense it. If you're stuck in that situation, what you want to do is unground, make sure the cable is not live, and then disconnect that shield from ground so it's now floating, so that it's not providing a shield and trapping that tone inside the cable. So now the probe will be able to sniff it out, if you will. Okay, yeah, I got a very interesting question here. It comes up fairly often, which is, how far can the tone and probe trace a cable? It's really driven by the cable, but in an ideal situation, you can get up to 7 miles ability to trace. It just depends on how much the signal degrades over that distance, which is driven by really the resistance of the cable itself. So, great question, and a very common one, by the way. Does the probe have to make contact with the wire for it to work? The answer is no, it does not. It does not have to. It just has to be very close to it. It doesn't have to make physical contact with the actual wire that has the tone on it. It just has to be very close, anywhere 1/4 inch, 1/8 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch, something in that range, like I said, really close by. If you're close to the source, actually it can be a couple of inches away and you'll still pick up the tone. Question here is, I've never been asked that one before. Will the toner work on automotive wires? My immediate answer would be it doesn't care what wire it is. As long as the ends are isolated or disconnected, then you should be able to trace it out. You don't want to have them connected because they could be grounded and you're sending the signal to ground and you won't pick it up. How good is here's a question. Let me read this carefully. How good is this at tracing unlabeled Cat6 cable that's terminated and patched to a switch? It shouldn't be any problem, but you want to disconnect as many of the cables from that switch as possible. It doesn't care that it's going into the switch. No more questions? Okay, doesn't look like any. I'll give anybody last chance. Okay, we're good. So again, please take a moment, like our Facebook page, go to jonard.com/live and enter our contest to win a TETP-901. And with that, thank you for joining us today and please stay safe.